the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Van, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Oh, the song's going to start again because I didn't get here in time. There we go. How are you? Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. We are at Thursday of the week, which is awesome. We're getting there. We will take Thursday, to say the least. We will take Thursday. Yep, we will. We will. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel, wherever you might be. We've got good stuff for you today. David Smith, the National Football League. Hey, you know what? And I know, it's the Hall of Fame game, but we have football tonight. It is on horrible plastic. Carolina and Arizona tonight. Carson Beck makes his debut. I believe he's the Cardinals starter. It's a game that is usually not very good, and there's a lot of things that go on during the broadcast that don't really focus on the game, but at least it's the game. And I went to one in person a couple of years ago. What's up, Juan? Hey, let's say hello, everybody. Steven, good morning. T-Bird, top of the morning to you. That was terrible. Prometheus, what's up, bringer of fire? What's up, Nex Novax? How are you doing today, Nex? Good to have you. Please subscribe and come back, everyone. So 2024 was the last time I went up to the induction to see that guy, Randy Gradishar, get inducted. And that's a trip, by the way, David Smith and I are going to have to bring it up. We're going to take. At some point, it's just going to be David and me, and we're going to hopefully have like a Broncos-Dolphins combined induction, somebody going in. And even if not, we just need, I want to experience that with him, with media credentials, and that's something I want to do. That's right. Newly married, and I'm most forward of looking to taking a trip with David Smith. It is what it is. Thank you. Is it Glaz? Thank you. 5898. Appreciate that. Thanks for subscribing. So anyway, I did that in 2024. We sat there, and the game is what it is, but it's the festivities around it, the excitement, the fervor of the town in Canton, Ohio. I mean, it's real. It feels like it's a college atmosphere. It feels like you're going to be at Lane Stadium, right, on a Saturday night. And it's just, you forget about all the other stuff that we talk about, which is why I want to try to rekindle that and focus on the games. I'll be watching some tonight. I guarantee it'll rate higher than anything else for the week. You watch. Well, you see the ratings for the Hall of Fame game. And it's just about the whole thing. And we sat there in person. People were so happy. And it'll be that way tonight. It's not a great stadium. They've improved it. They've made it bigger, but they did put turf in it. But that'll be tonight. So we do have football. And the induction ceremony is very special. Very, very special. It's just something that, if you are a true football fan, I think everybody needs to do it at least one time, to go up and hang out. So you have Drew Brees going in, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly. So you have Cardinals playing Carolina. It's usually two teams that have folks going into the Hall of Fame for their first preseason game. Roger Craig is the veteran's choice, and Adam Vinatieri. And I want to say, oh man, off the top of my head, I think he's the just the third pure kicker. Jan Stenerud, late of the Chiefs, outstanding kicker. Morton Anderson, who made his hay with the Saints, and now Vinatieri. Now, George Blanda's in. He was a quarterback / kicker for the Raiders back in the old AFL days in the early 70s after the merger. And I believe Lou Groza is also in, former Cleveland Brown. Wayne, back when the Browns had a viable franchise. Back in the 50s. So I guess technically there are 5 kickers, but really only 3 pure just kickers. Blanda was a heck of a kicker. He may have punted too. I don't remember seeing it. I remember getting the George Blanda football card in the 70s before he retired, like the early 70s. I don't know if it was the 73 set or whatever. And he looked like he was 72 years old, and he's only like in his early 40s. At that time, the oldest player ever. I think he's still the oldest player ever. I think he played until he was 48 or something. But anyway, and now you realize when you're older than that, you're like, wow. I hope I don't look like that. Alpha, we are in the United States of America. Damn right. Welcome, though, Alpha Wolf. Please subscribe. So that's tonight. But we've got a loaded show. David Smith will come on. We'll talk some NFL, recap how he picked the divisions and so forth. Andy Bitter, he had his 5 questions going into camp. We'll review those from Tech Sideline. Brian Steinspring, Roanoke College football up and going. I love to get these coaches' insights. I hope you appreciate them. They're a lot of fun. What's he looking to do week 1 of practice, year 2 of his program, man? It's exciting to see him build down in Roanoke. So we'll have Coach Steiny on and then Dwight Vick. I mean, my goodness, what a Thursday. Jeez Louise. What great peeps. The best thing I can do is just stay out of the way. Thanks, all the great comments. Coach Rags yesterday was awesome. You're right. I bet I got at least a dozen text messages or DMs, and people got a little emotional. Coach Rags announced his diagnosis of prostate cancer. He wanted, I was really touched. He wanted to share it here on the program. I have known about it for quite a while. Coach asked me not to say it, so I, of course, was going to honor that. People trust you. You have to remind them why they trusted you, right? And so he unveiled that yesterday, but things are going great. He looked great. I mean, he was coaching us on all of us dudes to get our prostate checked. like he used to with Marty and the football team. Didn't you feel like you needed to go run up that hill in Pearisburg after Coach was telling us about prostate cancer? Didn't you feel like you owed it to him? All right, Coach, I'm going to head over your way. Let's go. But that was great. That was great. And he's in great spirits, and hopefully they called it early enough. And as you said, he didn't look like a guy who was going through treatments, did he? He looked great. He looked great. But yeah, we got a lot going on, man. Got a lot going on here on the program. Heck of a lot. And we welcome everybody. We're very excited. Family Fencing will be back year number 2 of our studio sponsorship. You know, we're averaging 40,000 views a month now. We head into year 2 officially on August the 11th next week. Hard to believe it's been a year almost. 540-200-8294. Reach out to Family Fencing for a free quote. Our resident BDST chiropractic, Mark Hunley, will be back from McClellan, the chat room, 155 Walters Drive. We did the video of him going through the diagnostics and the science. It's science. Thing got over 700 views. We're going to go back and have me. I don't have to do much. Basically, I just sit in a chair and then I go through the gauntlet, which is great for me. And our presenting title sponsor, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, will also return. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. Appreciate them greatly. And congratulations to everything that they are accomplishing. And I talked with Charles Lee yesterday. Little River Heating and Air will return in year number 2 as our primo Little River where heating and air needs. Great conversation. He reiterated how many folks had hit them up from hearing us talk about it on the show. 540-553-2971. Thank you so much to Charles. BDST Fan Question of the Week's been a lot of fun, brought to you by the attorney Ryan Pry, who will also be back as our BDST Fan Question of the Week sponsor, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. It's been we've got a great response, over 50 responses. Who's going to play in the college football natty next year? And I'm not going to give anything else away. Just pick 2 teams and let me know. There are 3 matchups that are ahead of the others. 3 matchups that are ahead of the others. 1 team is involved in every matchup. That's all I'm going to say. National Bank member FDIC will return as our exclusive banking partner here on the program. Very, very excited. Thanks to Lara Ramsey. Had a great conversation. She's doing a great job as the president, completing her first year as the president. My banking partner for 35 years. Went down there yesterday, just a little brief transaction, and again, nothing but smiles. How you doing, Rick? Everybody doing okay? How's the marriage going? You know, and it's just natural for them, and it makes you feel good. When you go to the bank, you should feel good, right? Professional Door, residential commercial garage doors, Travis Williams. Hope he returns. I got to reach out to Travis, sponsor of our text line, 540-674-0008. Travis has built and continued his father's business, and it's outstanding. I know he's excited. He's got youngins getting ready to get football going. It's a great vibe, man. Great feeling. Great feeling. He was a hell of a player, too. He and I both wore number 56. Yeah. Although he was a much better player wearing 56 than I ever was. Travis. ReadySetFun.com. Bob Christ 11 at Gmail. Series of text messages. See how you can earn some money for your sports team. Like Floyd County Girls, $4,300. Reach out to Bob and find out. Go to Ready Set Fun and just read about it. Sundown Electric, the Smith Brothers. People want their T-shirts, and it's a cool logo. I got to download it. He sent me an image, so I have to download it for you. Nothing but 5-star reviews down in Elliston. They keep the cost down. Reach out to those fine folks, please. Let me look and see. T-Bird. How many subscribers? Where are we? We're at 1,040. How about that? 1,040. We are in the safe haven thanks to everybody who has subscribed. I mean, who knew, right? I mean, that's crazy.
My. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere.
NRV Super Bowl. I don't know what else to say. How great was the bash? And how great were they as hosts? 540-382-5525. Leagues are forming now. Men's, women's, mixed, kids leagues. Thanks to Terry and Amanda. They will also return as a sponsor of this program. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. James will be back, 300 North Franklin Street. He's been listening to the show since we first started in 2001. The old radio show, 540-381-8011. Manufactured parts for your home. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Thanks to the Montgomery County Chamber and everybody who's made it possible. Couldn't do the program without our sponsors, certainly without our listeners, certainly without YouTube. Right? Awesome. Good stuff all the way around. So, yeah, we're at 1,040 now, T-Bird. And that's real natural subscribers. Not a bot account trying to falsely build up your number and then seeing it dwindle. That's actually real peeps. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. And we are in our mode, too, where we are right now. Like I said, I got the notice last week from YouTube. We are a safe haven here for at least 3 years if I decide to keep doing it that long. We have met all the criteria, and it primarily had to do with the total views and rewatches that we get, and the time on the rewatches is what still blows my mind. People, when they go back and watch, and I guess it's great background noise. I do the same thing on YouTube, and basically I don't watch any network television. It's all garbage anyway. So I'll put something on YouTube. I'm watching some of these old NFL. I'm watching like old Harry Callis NFL highlight. There's a channel that's got a bunch of old NFL highlights, and he's narrating them, and I just kind of put them on and let them loop. It's awesome. Put it on the TV, and it's just like you look up, and you're like, oh. And people are watching, when they go back and leave it on, are over 2 hours and 10 minutes. And that blows me away. So thank you to everybody. We hit the official 1 year anniversary. 1 year anniversary. Let's see, today's the 6th. It's math. Next Tuesday, the 11th. Next Tuesday will be the official 1 year when we launched. And when we came on and I saw myself for the first time on camera going live, I just kind of sat here like, can anyone hear me? Can anyone see me? Is anyone there? Is there anyone there? But it's all about you. It's all about our sponsors, all about the supporters of the program, and of course, about our amazing array of talented guests that make this program work. We have wonderful people, and we try to bring you a variety of folks that you want to hear from, that are prominent in what you want to hear from, and that are very good at what they do. Now, sometimes you don't get the response you want from some people when you reach out, but you know what? That's okay. You just don't take that stuff personally and you move on. But for the most part, we get pretty good response with how we do things. So, yeah. What's up, Go Kuka? I didn't realize. What, son? Daughter? Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, we will go over Andy's, let's see here. Let me check to see what that was, how that was left. Yeah. Yeah, we got his 5 questions. We'll see if he tips those off. That's a subscriber only thing. So there you go. Yeah. Now, see, you did this yesterday, Spicy Noodles. Look, there's a neck there. See? See? There is a neck there. Yeah, I know. It's true. And thanks, Tim. Tim sent a nice, just in a text message. He goes, I get excited for the NFL season, but then the NFL gets in the way. And I know what you're saying, Tim. The game, there's literally no neck. There's a neck. It's got a collar on. See? There it is. See, Spicy? There's a neck right there. Football is what you appreciate. The NFL part can get in the way. Like, I know what you're saying, Tim. I hate it when they get political. I hate it when they ignore the obvious problems in their game, like officiating, the turf. The Browns are opening up a new stadium. They immediately announced they're going to turf. I don't understand. So I just try to block all that out, and we're going to be watching a game with a bunch of reserves tonight that are trying to make the team, trying to impress. If they can't make the team they're on tonight, they can make a team, maybe get invited to a camp, be signed to a practice squad. You might see some familiar names from Tech or UVA or in the ACC, some guys you remember, and it makes it fun. We're talking about the NFL, Sanju Max. Welcome. Please subscribe. But I know what you're saying, and I try just to focus on. I'm going to try to do my best to focus on that. Same thing with college football, which is a complete mess. But at least we have the games and the results. The scoreboard doesn't lie. The scoreboard tells us when you're sitting there on a Sunday or a Saturday, when you see and your team has won or that they've lost and you're pretty down about it, but if they've won, nothing else really matters at that moment than what the scoreboard says. And that's going to be the mindset that I try to take into it until it's completely ripped out of my soul by all the other things that will continue to bog down the progression of the season. And I hope that doesn't happen, but you kind of know it's going to. I hate injuries. Football early in camp, you hear about injuries, and it's just, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's going to happen at Tech. It's going to happen in Ohio State. It's going to happen in the NFL. Hate it all. What's up, Coldish Sping? Please subscribe. We're in Southwest Virginia, Sanju Max. That's where this show originates, but now it's worldwide here on YouTube. I have not. We have a couple people on the show that have. Where's Morris this morning? We don't have a Morris opener this morning. Morris taking a little nappy. Many people have, though. What was your take on it? Did you like the crocodile meat? But that's tonight, 8 o'clock, NBC, if you want to watch it. So I'm guessing that's Tirico and Collinsworth. Is that right? How quickly before Collinsworth starts talking about Patrick Mahomes? he's nowhere near the game tonight, but maybe he's going to start talking about Patrick Mahomes just right off the bat. I don't know. I just don't know. Oh, that's cool, Raymond. Yeah, because I watch a lot of the old NFL stuff as well on YouTube. Isn't it great? Reminds you when you were growing up. It really does. You watch all those things and how great the teams were, players, and they were bigger than life, man. Everybody was just bigger than life. Yeah, it's fun. Very little of it. Cold as Sping. I call soccer for Radford University, men's and women's, when we have home games. Tried to get into the World Cup. I was supportive of Team USA, but no, I do not usually search out soccer matches as my sporting entertainment. I mean, an American football fan. I respect what they do and how athletic they are and how much they can consistently run for 2 hours, but that's not a game that I am ever going to sit there and have preparations for a tailgate. I'm not tailgate prepping for soccer. What's up, Anthony? Oh, it does. I think Sam Spence. Is that who did it? Yeah, the old NFL Films music. We had The Power and the Glories. I used to play it a lot. It's part of a lot of my opens. Like when you hear these, let me just find one here. The old open, like if you listen, like right here, listen to this. This is.
If we die together. You can get it done. You can get it done. What's more, you gotta get it done.
There's a gleam, men. There's a gleam. Let's get the gleam, all right? Let's go.
Want a piece of that championship? Put it in here. Hey, guys, where else would you rather be?
There you go. And you're going to hear the old bear guy?
2 of Big Dog Sports Talk with Rick Watson on 105.3 The Bear.
Oh, my God.
Conversation now on the Baker Team Hotline.
There you go. Yeah, it does hit different. It does hit different. From the Palm Homer Golf Course, where I tee off at 7:12, I'm going to tee it up and picture Seth Greenberg on my Titleist golf ball and swing hard. Even if I carve a 12, we BDST people believe. Hey, have fun, man. Wow, Morris is on the golf course in Florida by the ocean at 7:12 a.m. Somebody has won at life. Really? Okay. Good to see you, Anthony. Go Cardinals. Join us now on the program. There he is. He is the finest NFL analyst on the planet, David Smith. What's up, brother? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Who's on the golf course?
Morris, 712 down in Palm Harbor Golf Course.
Played in Florida once, and he better be on the course at 7:12 because by about 11 o'clock, there is nobody on the course. It is a different kind of heat, my good friend.
He better play quickly. Is that what you're saying?
It's so funny. I was there. I was coaching an AAU girls team, our daughter's team, and my buddy was able to get us a pass to play at Windermere, I think it was, not far from where Tiger lived. We were in Orlando at Disney. Right?
Oh, that's cool.
So I was pretty decent. So a buddy of mine who I used to play high school ball against, his daughter was on the team. And so we decided to go play. And we got to the course and no one was on the course but us. It was about 11 o'clock. And we thought to ourselves, not only is it neat to be able to play, we don't have to wait. We don't have anybody pushing us. And we kind of looked around and you could see the people in Florida were kind of like almost amazed that we were even out there. It's because it got so hot. It gets pretty hot. So Morris has got it all figured out. I'm waiting on the invite. Can Morris invite us? Rick?
Well, yeah, you know what? I'm supposed to go down there at some point with Janet. So yes, we should. You and Peb, we should just let them do their thing, and we'll go out there and just hang out with Morris. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. We'll hit a few balls and we'll have some fun. Early morning tee times are recommended for sure.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
Kind of like early morning football practices or what's going on. How's that?
It is.
For you?
It is. And I believe we have a football game tonight, right? We have a football game.
We actually have two teams that's going to be playing against each other. And can you and Rick? You remember when you played? I'm sure the grind. And I'm just high school football player, but just remember playing and going through camp in those same smelly, grungy jerseys day after day after day. And then after about the second week of all that, you finally had a scrimmage. You finally had somebody you could play on a Friday in a scrimmage, and you thought to yourself, if nothing else, it will be less painful and less drudgery than what I've gone through at this particular point. And so for them, I think it's Carolina and Arizona tonight. I think it is, Rick. So
it is. It is.
So we'll be able to actually see. I guess we'll call it football, and then in about 3 weeks we'll be tired of seeing this.
Football. Yeah. That's true. I always start out like the Broncos play next Friday, first game, and you get all, and then after the second game, you're like, okay, can we go ahead and start the regular season now? This isn't what it's supposed to be.
Well, it's funny. We've been dying for anything. We get camp. We got camp. Ooh. Now it's like, all right, that's enough of camp.
That's enough of camp.
We get preseason games. Oh, I can't wait. All right. I mean, you're only going to see a few things, and then you kind of saying, all right, but football has a way of giving you the crescendo effect, right? It teases you here, it builds perfectly, and then by the time we get it, it is about 20 weeks of all we want, and I'm here for every bit of, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we went through all of your selections for the division by division, and now we're going to remind people as we go through each conference. We'll start with the AFC. The recap on your rankings and the things that you surmise from looking at the teams 1 through 4 in each division.
So as you recall, I gave a disclaimer last week. I kind of limped into a disclaimer and said, guys, I know I said this team might be that, but I've had 8 weeks now, and maybe some things have changed that I might feel differently about. So don't throw arrows at me on this one. But But when we went through it, I had the Bills winning the AFC East. We were starting the AFC East. I had the Bills at the top of the AFC East. I didn't change that at all. I feel like the Bills and the Patriots, Dolphins, and Jets in that order. And so I had the Bills winning that division, the Patriots second, Dolphins third, and the Jets fourth. I actually had the Patriots also making the playoffs. So there's 2 of your 7 teams right there. So I feel pretty good about the AFC East. In fact, Rick, for no reason other than a feeling, I think Buffalo may be on to something this year. I just feel like, you know what? These things tend to take a moment to get together, Rick. Who's had it close? Who's had more doggone it luck than the Buffalo Bills over all this time? So what an apropos time to maybe really start to get it figured out. Brand new stadium. Now, that can go a lot of ways. I remember when the Bulls moved out of the old Chicago Stadium into United Center. I remember a couple times Jordan was like, well, it's not as loud as the old Chicago Stadium. He figured out a way to get a three-peat. Now, I'm not comparing Josh Allen to MJ, but it's funny how these teams that are near the top and they change buildings, it can either – I'll be interested to see if it'll give them the elevation necessary. So that's the AFC East for me: Bills, Pats, Dolphins, Jets.
And grass, right? By the way. Grass, David, on the new Bill Stadium. Grass.
Yes, because they had turf on the old stadium. And it's no colder anywhere in the world in terms of NFL than there, with the exception of maybe Minnesota, who's in the dome, Detroit in the dome, and Lambeau Field, who's not. So there you go, Rick. So Rick Watson wants grass to be mowed everywhere in the country, folks.
Yes, I do.
He's trying to mow his carpet right now. This guy wants mowers.
I got to get over here.
Flying around. Listen, I think we will give an asterisk to high schoolers only because we do recognize that there's funding issues at high schools and that kind of, at least I'm saying that more than you are, but the World Cup has showed us it can be done.
It can be done.
So
correct. Now, no more excuses.
You wait till the next bargaining agreement comes down, Brady. You say that right now. They're gonna. I heard Florio talk about it. He says NFL's gonna want something back. The NFL players are gonna be like, whatever you feel you need back, we want that grass on the fields. And so shout out to Buffalo for doing that. So we're going to move to the North, Rick. And I had the Bengals winning that division. With a lot of upheaval in the division. We've got Harbaugh's leaving. We got Mike Tomlin leaving. That's 37 years of consistency with the black and blue and the purple and black. I feel like there's going to be this is a chance for Joe Burrow. Don't you feel like, Rick, that Joe Burrow has got to, and this team has got to win the division this year, right? They're loading up. They were in the Super Bowl driving down the field to win the game. And they haven't sniffed the playoffs in a while. And again, Joe Burrow staying upright's a big
can't
part
stay
of
healthy.
that.
Yeah.
And so, but you just feel like this is kind of one of those shots for them. And so, for no particular reason other than the fact that they may ascend back, the only team to keep their coach in the division. I got the Bengals winning that division. I got the Ravens being the wild card as a 2 seed in that division, followed by the Steelers and the Browns. And the Browns have got to decide what they're going to do with quarterback and get it figured out. They're in the news for all the wrong reasons. Deshaun Watson, 5th year, he's finishing the deal. He has the audacity and give him credit to say, I'd be interested in an extension here. And again, Deshaun Watson, who if the Deshaun Watson we had at Clemson was the guy that was the most lovable guy, even in his first couple of years at Houston. The things he did around the facility, he was embraced. He was an MVP candidate. And boy, does the mighty fall quickly. It's unbelievable how he has gone from that to now. Folks can hardly look at him in a lot of ways. And I don't know how he could ever play for another team.
Yeah.
It would take a Andy Reid type of uniqueness or a Harbaugh type, and not that he would go to those places after this year, for someone to insulate him enough to be able to coach him to say, you just need to really say nothing and play. And so that's what the Browns are dealing with, him or Shedeur Sanders. And so I don't see them coming out of the bottom of that division. And so then, Rick, we'll go to the South. And this is where I had a little bit of a flipsy-flopsy here. I originally went out and, to your surprise, I had Indy winning that division, followed by Houston, Jacksonville,
that's right,
and then the Titans. I've had a mea culpa here, my good friend. I'm sorry, D'Amico Ryans. Please don't hate me. I am a D'Amico guy, and so are you, Rick. We love the hire. All he's done is made the playoffs every year that he's been there. Houston is, I think, ascending. They even picked up, what a great move in its own weird way, Jadeveon Clowney, who was drafted by them in 2014. He's re-upped with them. Why? Because those guys on defense hunt, and he's going to be ideal. I didn't realize this until I heard it. He had 8.5 sacks with Dallas last year, I think it was. So there's Clowney back with Houston, giving them even more depth to go with Will Anderson and those rush ends, one of the top defenses in the league. I got Houston winning that division, followed by Indy. Jacksonville, who was 13-4, I've got it third. And then I got the Titans last. I think that division is going to really beat each other up, Rick. And I only have Houston going to the playoffs out of that division. I have that as a one playoff division. And then, of course,
D'Amico was mad at you, by the way. D'Amico was very upset. Yeah, he has presser. He couldn't believe you picked him second.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure my name's posted on the walls. All over
you're going to be the bulletin board material.
Yeah. They got a screenshot of us up on the wall, and they probably got us on the dummy for more pounding. And so we'll take it, right? As long as it's not really us, right? So, and then in the West, Rick, I got your Broncos winning that division. I got the Chiefs at second. I got the Chargers, and then the Raiders. I've got you guys holding that thing down, and I heard something yesterday. I think it was Jay Glazer was talking about it. Rick, have you seen the new practice facility that the Broncos have? Have you seen that? It's unbelievable. Yeah. It is ridiculously wonderful. Shout out Walton Money. Walmart money Listen, everybody talks about college football being an arms race. The NFL has always been an arms race. But that thing right there, I couldn't believe it. Kept going. And when I watched the video of it, the simulation kept going. I thought it would never end. It kept taking us through different things. You need a directory to walk around it. My God.
I know.
That was impressive. That was impressive. So, and I've got the Chiefs also making the playoffs. I got the Broncos winning the division, Chiefs making the playoffs. So with that being the backdrop, Rick, here are my 1 through 7s, the way I've got it. So I've got Buffalo as a 1 seed, overall 1 seed, and they get the bye, followed by the Broncos as the 2, Bengals 3, Texans 4. And then the wild card teams are the Patriots, Chiefs, and Ravens, 5, 6, and 7 in that order. So that's who I project
fair.
to get there. So no Chargers, right?
No Chargers,
no Jacksonville, no Colts, all right? No Steelers. So those are the ones left out on this August. What is this? August 6th date.
It's August 6th, yeah.
So
we'll I like it.
Yeah,
I like
we'll
it.
See. Yeah.
I understand Houston 4 because I don't know about C.J. Stroud either. That's the key, right? They'll be able to stop people, okay, but can they score? Now, stopping people in the NFL is holding them to 20 points now, right? I mean, with the outfit. So So I like that. I think that's fair. I do. I don't know about the Broncos too, but
well, it's one of those where they also going to play a number one schedule this year because coming off of the one season, they now will play the ones. But the NFL is really fluid. But then Jacksonville was 13-4 last year, and I don't have them in it. So with that being said, with the Bills getting a bye, then that would set up a 7-2 matchup with the Ravens against the Broncos at Denver.
Me and Pebbles.
There's you and Pebbles. Yeah, God bless you all. There's a battle of the two. There it is. Watch the sparks fly. And then and the Chiefs at the Bengals. And for some reason, this is probably where I could have been a little bit more indifferent. The Chiefs as a 6 seed, they didn't make the playoffs last year, and they've got a limping quarterback starting this year, an aging tight end. Maybe this is an Andy Reid pick. Maybe I feel like Kenneth Walker's going to make a move. Maybe I feel like they're going to do some different things with the new back end of the defense. But I've got them at the 6 seed going to the Bengals. And then I've got the Patriots as a 5 on the road at the Texans. So they're the Patriots. Last year, they're the AFC champs. I got them coming in as a wild card, as a 5 seed, going on the road to play Houston. That's a game that probably won't be easy for them to want to have to deal with, as I see that as the first round of the playoffs in the AFC. So that's how they stack up, brother.
Well, we'll see about Mahomes. I've seen a lot of shots of him in camp so far. He doesn't look like he's throwing very well with that leg. Are they rushing him? It seems like it's way too fast for him to be out there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Rick, I agree with you. The short-term gains for having him out there.
I know.
It just doesn't seem. Again, who are we? But boy, the ACLs at that position. I mean, to me, the mobility is one thing, but getting it tackled and falling on it, all the action around your legs and knees, and of course, quarterbacks can't ever get hit. Rick, in this day and time, the only time you get hit is week 1, and so it's Andy Reid knows more than we do. But boy, he doesn't look like now. He's never really been Vic or Lamar anyway, but he's had enough elusiveness where he could protect himself. My concern is, when they start tackling low and all those things. But they feel pretty confident that he's trending in the right direction. So we're going to see how that plays out. We're going to put these picks to the test real early with all the potential stuff that's going on. And then I'll leave the AFC with this last point, and then we'll go to the NFC. If this comes to pass and Justin Herbert doesn't make the playoffs again, at some particular point, Rick, and you and I have talked about it, we love the guy. It was a 6th pick in the draft, I think, behind Tua at 5 in that, I think it was 2020 draft, the COVID draft, I believe it is. There is no questioning his talent. When is it going to happen for them if they indeed don't make it this year? Now, he could surprise us all because they were obliterated on the offensive line last year. He had all pros and first-round picks, and they really weren't themselves. So he could make us all look like we don't know what we're talking about, which won't be hard to do. If they have a great offensive line, he's able to produce. That could shake this West up a lot with a limping Patrick Mahomes. And you guys see if Bo Nix has a sophomore slump or a second or third year slump, that kind of thing. So we're going to see. We'll keep an eye on Justin Herbert and see what goes on from there.
Well, and I've heard Fernando Mendoza's look so good that, everybody's looking at, everybody keeps saying, hey, it's going to be Kirk Cousins, right? Well, I don't know. Fernando Mendoza may not give him an option out there. He may just be like, I'm going to come in and take this job day one. Kirk, you just kind of hold the clipboard after all. He's looked great from what I've seen. I know he's not going up against hitting and all that, but.
Well, all you have is what you have. I mean, yesterday, all the reports out of Cleveland yesterday was Deshaun Watson was 17 of 20 for 7 TDs. Now, what calibration do we have on this? But But 17 of 20 in a situation in the NFL it's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
It's nothing. So that means that he's completing passes to people, and it sounds like when they measure these things, that means some of them could be check downs. But if he didn't throw any interceptions, all they have is that to go on, because you can't go live against quarterbacks to a certain degree, but everyone else is. So, but if Mendoza is going to push that envelope, then that gives Kirk Cousins that little quick time. And as you know, Rick, it won't take long if you're out there in Vegas and you all excited. And Tom Brady won't mess around with that. Think about it. He's the guy that did the very thing that we're hoping that they do with Mendoza, and that is get the best guy in the game. You know, Drew Bledsoe gets destroyed against the Jets. And Drew Bledsoe was playing great. We didn't know about Brady. None of us knew about Brady.
He got Wally Pipp, didn't he?
and he never gave it back. He got that once. He got the number 1 jersey and never gave it back, buddy. And so we're going to see how that plays out. No question about it.
Chris Lesser's asking real quick before we get in the NFC, why does Justin Herbert get such a long leash, you think? I know from the Chargers standpoint, that's your franchise guy, so you don't want to give up until you absolutely have to. But the league does seem to always include him into this high praise. And he's ranked a lot higher, for instance, than Bo Nix. I mean, that people just, so.
Yeah. I think some of it is, this is just me, he's a great human being. Like, there's nothing he's done wrong. Like,
he's a good dude. He's a good dude. Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's had no missteps. A lot of times it's been early in his career, people could blame it on the coaching. Now, Harbaugh's been there. I guess this is his 3rd year, maybe entering his 3rd year. And last year was the offensive line, which, as you know, any quarterback that doesn't have a great offensive line struggles. And he's been in the division with the Chiefs. So you start with that. It's been the Mahomes division and the Mahomes conference for so long until the Broncos unseated them. So I think those are the factors that gives him a little bit more of a pass. The reason why I think Josh Allen gets a lot more grief than him is Josh Allen's been winning the division forever. They just can't finish the deal. And so I think that's some of the reason why for the Chargers, you always feel like there's a valid explanation. Plus, you're talking about a guy that's really a cool dude. He's had zero controversy. He does a lot of good stuff off the field. And so he's likable. And I think that gives him a pass for now. But even that's going to have a short leash if they don't get through it here in the next couple of years.
All right, NFC time. Let's recap what you did division by division.
Here we go. We'll start in the East, and I had the Eagles winning that division. I'm going to stay with that, but trending in the right direction just on some of the stuff I've been seeing and reading. And, Rick, this could be one of those teams, and I won't give the whole – we'll just line up the playoffs today. We won't give the picks the rest of the way. The Dallas Cowboys are trending in a direction, Rick, that dare we say Jerry's been quiet and his team's been quiet, and they are just moving methodically down the field, if you will, and setting up shop pretty well. I've got them as a 2 seed. I had the Commanders at 2 before, so I flipped the Cowboys to 2 and got the Commanders at 3. The Giants at 4. This division could go a million ways. The Giant people are, and I am one of them, bullish on the Giants. Not bullish enough to get them in the playoffs yet. I wouldn't be bothered if they surprised me and took that division. Now, that's a long way to go to ask Jackson Dart and Scatterboo and all of them to do that. But their defense is great. They've got Richard and Likely from the Ravens. They've seen success along with Harbaugh. They're Thibodeau on defense, Abdul Carter on defense. Malik Neighbors is back. I started to look around up at the Greenbrier, watching a lot of the clips from around the Greenbrier. Rick, they got a lot of good talent on their football team.
Now they have Harbaugh.
Yeah. And there you go. You've got a captain steering that ship now. And so to me, I feel like they're going to make a lot of noise in that division. They're going to open up the season against Dallas, game 1. So for me, I've got the Eagles winning it, but I've got the Cowboys as the wild card coming out of that, followed by the Commanders and Giants. And that could end up a lot of different ways. The winner of that division may end up being a 10-7, 9-8 team, just because of all the division games that could be anybody's game. And poor Washington, it's all about Jaden Daniels. And my sisters,
all about Jaden Daniels. Yep.
My sisters are Commanders fans, and they say the same thing. I think you said it too, Rick. Boy, he's got to get bigger. He is a slight human being to play that position. And so he's going to have to get that together. In due time, he will. So in the North, Rick, I'm going to stick with this outlier pick. I got the Packers winning that division. I got the Lions as a 2, the Bears, and then the Vikings. Sorry, Andy Bitter. If Kyler Murray comes in and can go crazy, That'll be interesting to see. People forget Kyler Murray for a stint in Arizona played really good football. I think it's going to be difficult to deal with in the Dome. I think the Vikings, a lot like the Giants, are a team people aren't saying a lot about, but they're going to be heard from. There are a lot of teams, Rick, and looking through this, there's probably about 24 or 25 teams, and maybe that's how it always is, but they really stand out to me that on any given Sunday, I'll expect them to be in the mix against anybody in the league, and the Vikings are one of those teams. I got the Packers and Lions both making the playoffs. And in the South, the division that was a three-way tie last year, I got the Panthers trying to repeat, Rick. I'm going to go with them, followed by the Bucks, Falcons, and Saints. And the poor Falcons can't seem to get a healthy quarterback on the field. It looks like Tua and Michael Penix are trying to get that figured out. Tua's having a back issue. Doesn't sound like it's long-term. And Michael Penix is trying to recover from that knee injury. And so, but they did. Bijan Robinson got the contract signed. That was important for them. They're incredibly fun to watch. And again, they did tie for the division last year. And so if they can get that quarterback buttoned up, they'll be in good shape. And then in the West, I got the Rams, Seahawks, Niners, and Cardinals. The poor Niners, gosh, Kyle Shanahan gets banged up. They're already having injuries coming out of camp. You know, I don't know what's happened with the Niners, what's going on out there. They stay injured more than anybody in the league. They're just always in that way.
It's an electronic thing they tried to talk about.
The power grid or whatever that they practice near. It seems to be one of those. They're trying to eliminate that. And that is kind of weird, though, isn't it, Rick, that they go through training camp and seem like in the season they have more stuff. Bosa and Warner had season-ended injuries last year. Of course, the whole Ayuk thing, they kind of dismissed him. They did re-sign Deebo Samuel. So that was a one-year deal in Washington. He's back now on a one-year deal with them. So I got the Rams and Seahawks making the playoffs in the West. And so with that being said, 1 through 7, I've got the Rams as the number 1 seed. Rick, they're the consensus best team in the league. I don't know anybody that's not picking them to be not only the NFC champion, but maybe even the Super Bowl champion. And we'll get into that down the road. But I got them as the 1 right now, Rick. I got the Eagles at 2. Packers at 3, and Panthers at 4. So those are your division winners in that order. A lot like last year. In fact, I know the Panthers, instead of the Rams at 1, it was the Seahawks at 1 last year. And then I've got the Cowboys at 5, Seahawks 6, and Lions 7. So those are your wild card teams. And so that leaves out the Bears. It leaves out the Bucks. It leaves out the Falcons. It leaves out the Niners. And so those are 4 teams that could be in the mix that I kept out of it. And so the way that would line up is a 7 seed would be your Lions at the Eagles, first round game. You got the Seahawks and Packers, and then you've got the Cowboys at Panthers. And so those would be the lineups based on the way that I seeded them. And of course, all we have is what we have. And then after that, what we'll do next week is we'll conjure around seeing who we think is going to win those games and who will then play the Rams or the Bills in the opening divisional round. So this is actually wild card weekend that we set up here. So that's my pick, Rick, and I'm sticking with it. No more edits.
No more edits. You're in. It's now done in pen, not in pencil. It's now been penned going forward. There it is. By the way, did you see the Aaron Donald workout footage yesterday?
I didn't see yesterday's. Is he going crazy again, Rick? I saw him doing dumbbell presses with 150 each.
Well, he's there on the field doing his move. I'm like, do you need to even see any more? He looks better than he did. What are you waiting on? Get him signed. What is this? Come on.
Yeah, the last I heard about that, I read it. I didn't see the footage. Was that I think they're just kind of wanting us to be teased in this thing.
I believe it feels like it. LA right? Style. Yeah.
I think he's interested in also trying to validate if it's going through all that's worth it for him. That's the line that they're sticking with. The Rams don't care. They just want to have him on the roster week 1, and whenever he can play, he can play. Rick, it's inevitable. You don't go through all this and not come back to play. I mean, can you imagine you do all this and you come back and say, you know what? Upon further review, I'm going back home. No, he's not going back home. He's not going back home. And so, it's funny. This started happening even before Myles Garrett signed. Footage of him working out was showing up. I think it was over the winter or something that I saw. It certainly feels like that, January, February. So, good luck, folks, dealing with that guy.
It's what you said. Did you see his comment? He said, I wanted to get out here. I wanted to put the gear on. I just wanted to see how my mind would react. This is how far he's thought about this. How would my mind react to being out there? Can I get my mind back to being a football player after being away from it? So he's being very methodical about it, very smart about how he's doing it. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was
cool, Rick. And it's one thing, we all, if we could all play games only, we all would never stop playing football if we had the chance to play it. It's the other 360 some days that you got to practice. And, football is very little game inventory and a whole lot of practice. I mean, you just think about, we all follow Virginia Tech. Just think about the social media follows of Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's a Power 4 Division I football program. 95% of the footage you see is them working out, training. It's training forever before you play games. And so you've got to have your mind right around wanting to lift, wanting to run, wanting to practice. The games are the candy. You only get that so little. So football, I remember thinking about that when I had the choice to consider playing football in college versus playing basketball. I remember one of the things that came to my mind was there's so much, not in a bad way, you have to be mindful of the amount of training and practice for so few games, although the games are unmatched by any other sport.
Right.
Listen, I play basketball. I can tell you, basketball's got a lot of great things, but because there's so little of it, I say that often on here, it stands alone. But you have to be built to want to train and practice with so few live light camera action moments. And so I think that's part of what it is. But people who are wired for football, God love them, because I have the most admiration for him. Maybe he's just trying to figure out if he's about that grind. And so,
I think it is. I think it is.
So. Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Yeah.
Well, great stuff as always, man. I hope you have a great weekend and enjoy the game tonight. I know you'll be watching because I will turn it on as well.
Well, it gives us a game, and so we'll definitely want to check that out. Appreciate you, man. So next week we'll break down these games and other topics that may be coming down the pike. Hopefully everybody, and by next week, full slate of preseason games. So
I know. We will. Stay away from injuries. No injuries, please.
Yeah. Please. Keep the good players in bubble wrap for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, brother. Have a great weekend. Great stuff as always.
Thanks, brother. See you next week.
Yes, sir. There you go. That's David Smith. Again, I'll put the challenge out there. Find me a better NFL analyst, and we'll schedule them. In other words, you won't. Are you gonna watch? You're gonna watch TV and try to find that guy? No. Just not. Good stuff. Yeah, Aaron Don, I thought that was really interesting. He just said, you know what? I need to get the helmet on. I need to get on the field. I need to get down and hit the sled. I need to get the shoulder. I just need to see how am I going to react to being on the football field again? I thought that was very interesting and a very smart way to do it because he looks great. Clearly, he's physically able to do it. And you're right, Chris Lester. Hey, good morning, Chris Lester. Yeah, you imagine just having that luxury of saying, okay, AD, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer. You just want to come out 25 plays is all we need you, man. Bring that guy in the rotation. Yes, it's the sport of king, better than diamond rings. Football. Nothing like casting Goldie Hawn as the head coach. Although the most poignant scene of Wildcats was remember when the really good quarterback left the team? Was Woody Harrelson in that movie? And anyway, he came back and the other quarterback, I think it may have been Woody, stepped aside for the team and had a little problem. Didn't that happen? I remember too much about the movie Wildcats. Whew. Brian Steinspring to White Vic here in just a little bit. Wow. Joining us now on the program is that gentleman. He is Andy Bitter, lead writer for Tech Sideline. Good morning, AB. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing all right, man. Hey, it's football practice week. Don't know if the local media is going to be able to see any of it, but hey, you get practice is going on.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit today. It's not a ton of opportunities in August, but we'll see a few periods today. I'm sure it'll be stretching. And they're not in pads yet. So, it's always, you see the first couple practices, like how'd this guy look? It's like they're, wearing, shorts. Like they all look,
Right.
they all look like superstars when the shorts are on. So I always tell people, like, temper expectations in these first ones. You're not going to go out there and be able to understand how everything works out there.
Right. Exactly. I know you had what probably, from what people tell me, one of the most anticipated features that you offer Tech Sideline when you do the 5 questions heading into camp. How did that go? What were some of the things you came up with?
Yeah, it's sort of the industry standard.
That's cool.
There's always 5 questions. It's like, how much 5? It's just psychologically pleasing number. Really, there's probably 50 questions that you could ask going into this August. Those were the 5 biggest ones, I think. And, I mean, the first one is not really a question. It's just more of a, when is it going to happen? That's the quarterback spot. I think we all know it's going to be Grunkemeyer. So when are they going to name him at this point? And then, going through it, receivers beyond Aiden Green and Quayshawn Brown, not a lot of experience there, production.
Right.
Was this offensive line going to shake out? Because it feels like there are more options this year. I just don't know who's going to play where. Who's going to step up on the defensive line besides Kamari Copeland? A lot of guys who haven't produced yet, although I think there's potential there. And then I think, how do you whittle down this cornerback field? Who's going to be the starters in there? And, there are loads of questions beyond that. Safeties, linebackers, tight ends, that kind of rotation there. But had to limit it to 5. So that was how we did the article.
Well, I like that because you cover a lot of ground, and I think it's questions that everybody kind of has, and it just sounds like we won't get to know a whole lot until they roll out there against VMI the way the reports are going to be set up. I don't know what kind of press conference he's going to have after practice and so forth, but I get the feeling he's going to be pretty buttoned up about information. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, when VMI is your opener, I don't necessarily know if you have to do that. Yeah. Not like it's not a marquee opener where you're like, subterfuge here. And like, when our greatest asset is that nobody knows what we're going to do this year. It's like, well, I don't think it matters with VMI. I mean, you stole their head coach to make him a staffer. I think you're okay against VMI as 50-point favorites or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And the way he's going to go about scheduling, do you think that's going to be the one? We see Indiana doing it as well with the new setup and eventually the 2014 playoff that's going to happen. What do you think about some of the mindset? Next year it's the Citadel and Liberty, and it looks like that's going to be the kind of thing that he's going to be doing while he's here in Blacksburg.
Yeah, it's lame. It's lame. I mean, I'll call it what it is. It's terrible. It's not fun for fans. Nobody wants to watch these games. They're pushing off some quality games on the schedule. Like, I get why they didn't play JMU this year. And you look at the ACC schedule they got. That would have been a really tough slate. You would have looked at it and go, man, this could be tougher to even get to a bowl game this year. I know everybody's thinking 9-10 wins this year. I'm thinking 7-5 possibly. And if you have JMU in the mix instead of VMI, I don't think JMU is going to be what it was last year. But it's not an easy game that you go out there and just chalk it up as a win. But in the future, 9 ACC games isn't a death sentence. I don't think it's like playing the meat of the SEC if you get 9 ACC games. They actually probably got the worst of it this year, so it's probably not going to be as bad as it is this year and future years. And I don't know, if I'm paying for season tickets, I want to see some good games. I don't want to see
100%.
Just a marshmallow soft game to open up the season where you go out there and the starters play 2.5 quarters. I'd rather see, they have games against, Wisconsin and Alabama and Ole Miss in the future, but, get some other games on there. West Virginia, Tennessee would be great. Try some of those Big Ten teams that didn't play previously. And I realize you have to have both sides agree to that. That's part of the sticky point with Tennessee or Penn State is getting them to agree to the series. But there's got to be power programs out there that would make for entertaining games. I don't think it's the worst thing to have to play 11 Power 4 teams in a season. And these coaches act like, oh my gosh, that's just too great of a thing to do. It's like, no, that's what you should be doing. That's what people want to pay to see.
I couldn't agree more. I think it doesn't make your team better. You're making $8 million, whatever it is, a year as a head coach, and your fans are going to continue to ask for more and more money for your supporters. And here you are. Here's your season tickets that went up $500 more, but here's your game against the Citadel next year.
Well, what happened to the viewership thing in the ACC? That was all that people were talking about last year. There was an incentive to schedule these games that everybody wants to watch because you're going to get more money from the
That's
ACC
right.
if you have eyeballs on you during the season. And I'm sorry, VMI on the ACC network at 8:00 on the opening week. Like, will people tune in for like a quarter? Maybe they'll see Enter Sandman and they'll see Virginia Tech take the lead in the first quarter. But if you're not a Virginia Tech fan, you're not watching the rest of that game.
No, that's right. That's right.
That's one that gets changed very quickly to a more competitive product.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great point. I forgot about that whole. I guess it's still in play, right? The ACC and televised incentive. I guess it's still there. But
yeah, well, I don't even think we've seen the full scope of how they would change that, because there's always a lag on the reporting on the sort of breakdown. So I think the figures that we saw last year, I think I don't think they have the TV stuff reflected in that. So I forget exactly, but it's a big deal going forward, and the amount of money that you can make this extra if you're on the higher end of that viewership scale and one of the bigger brands. I just think, play some games that people want to watch if that's the case.
Yeah, and I understand you want to establish your program and so forth, but I think it's also sending a negative message of competitiveness or fear of trying to. It comes across that way to me a little bit when you're trying to actively make sure you schedule to win these games at home and you want to have 7 home games. I get it, but what does it do for you, and why don't you feel confident enough to? I used to have these conversations with Jim Weaver a lot. Why don't you feel confident enough to take your team and play these games, right? Just go. If you lose them, you're going to have a hell of a lot more respect than beating VMI by 10 touchdowns,
Yeah, and I think if the playoff inevitably goes to 24, which I think it will, over my objections, they're not even listening to me on this one, unfortunately. It gives you some leeway. You can lose a game like that and still be in the top 24. That's not the end of your season if you lose a game like that. So it's not like it was the 4-team playoff where you had to be perfect throughout the whole thing. Even in the 12-team within the ACC, you got to be pretty close to perfect to get it. I know there's the auto bid if you win the league, but you're sort of pushing it if you don't. And in their defense, the committee doesn't really reward teams that play this stuff.
That's the other side of it. Yep.
If Notre Dame hadn't played Miami last year and played some easy game at the beginning of the season, they would have rolled into the playoff. That said, if they had won that game, they would have definitely been in. And their schedule was so easy that was the only reason they were in consideration, even though they had 2 losses, was that they played Texas A&M and Miami early in the season. So. And I understand it from both sides, and certainly in year 1 with Franklin, you get an easy win off the bat like that. But I don't. The scheduling the Citadel next year. What is the point? What are we doing playing that game?
Right, in year 2. Right, exactly. What'd you think of the coaches poll that came out this week? A couple days ago, I think. So.
Oh, it was 41st. In total, if you add the others receiving votes all the way down, seems about right. There's such a brand bias in those things. Clemson is ranked. I don't think they deserve to be ranked. Honestly, I didn't study it too closely because it's sort of useless. Those preseason ones, you're just going off what everybody thinks of the off season. I think it becomes interesting once you actually play some games, and it's more interesting on the AP poll, I think, than the coaches poll, because I think people in the AP poll are more willing to just completely throw out what they had in the preseason and just go, this team lost right away and looked terrible. I'm dropping them out of the poll completely. Whereas if you're in the coaches poll, those guys are slow to Auburn has 3 losses, 25th. We'll put them 25th right now. It's like, what do you need to see to drop this team out? It's always SEC teams that seem to stay in longer than other ones with losses. So That's what bothers me with polls. I know people are like, oh, there shouldn't be a poll until week 6. It's like, well, what are you going to talk about before that? Like, it's fun. It doesn't really affect anything. My problem with polls is when people don't react big enough and drop teams when they lose, or move them up when they have great wins. Sometimes it takes a long time. Indiana, it took a long time for the people to believe that Indiana was real, even though it was beating opponents week in and week out. It's like, just move them up. They're a good team and they look good on the field. Reflect that in your rankings.
Were you surprised to see Clemson in there?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's brand bias there. That's
what I think too. Yeah.
I think Clemson. I don't know what to make of Clemson. I don't. I think that's a program that's been good over the years. But I look at their quarterback situation this year and I go, that's who they're rolling with. That's the guy that they're going to hand the ball to. I mean, this is the school that's had, Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson and really high draft picks. And it's a 4th-year guy that's never really played. And I know Dabo likes the loyalty, but, these other schools are lapping them by bringing in transfers and starting those transfers and turning them into stars. And I wonder if they're just a program that's behind the times that hasn't adapted and isn't catching up, or did they just have a hiccup last year that they still recruited a pretty strong level and they have guys coming up the program. I think it's going to be a very interesting team to watch. I mean, they go to Death Valley, the other Death Valley, to play LSU this year. And it's just a fascinating matchup of the way two programs do business, where it's Clemson that kind of sticks with their guys and tries to develop and doesn't use the portal too much, against Lane Kiffin, like the guy who left the playoff team to go to this new team and then brought in a bunch of new players. I think that's going to be a really fun game to watch.
What's your take on SMU overall? I mean, I know we kind of mentioned them, but they get their quarterback returning for the 3rd straight year, which is so rare in today's environment. Money, so much money. They don't need to worry about that. But what's your take on them as a rising program? Because they get a lot of love. They're also in the top 25.
Yeah, anytime you have how often do you have a quarterback who's going to be in his 3rd year as a starter in this era of college football?
I know, it's crazy. That's crazy.
Usually that guy would have moved on to the NFL or moved on to a better offer NIL-wise from a school like SMU, but go ahead, try to outbid SMU on a player. See how that works for you against that oil money down there. Rhett Lashley seems to know what he's doing as a coach. They moved up to the ACC and they have gone 14-2 in league play in the last 2 years. Haven't lost a home game in that time. There's been a few bumps in the road. And I think they lost a non-conference game last year that was pretty weird early in the season, or maybe that was 2 years ago. That was a little strange, but they've handled that transition as well as anybody that's moved up, got the call up to a power conference league, and they bet on themselves and they go, we don't even need your TV money, just give us a shot in this power conference and we'll be able to compete. And, kudos to them. They've backed it up by going out there and playing well. We'll see if it continues this year, but the first 2 seasons they've been right there with everybody. It's better than anybody but Miami last year.
Penn State showing up at 17. Been a lot of reaction here on the program from Tech fans who are paying a lot of attention to that program, obviously. What were your thoughts about Penn State? They have a very, easy schedule conference-wise in the Big Ten. So,
yeah, I think that helps. They didn't hire some nobody. Matt Campbell's a great coach.
Yeah.
And he's moving up to a situation that has more resources than what he had at Penn State. And if he can continue to keep that sort of culture and mentality that he had at Penn State, I don't see why he can't succeed there. A big part is that they brought in Rocco Becht as the quarterback, so they have a big name guy at the top spot. And I think Penn State underachieved last year, obviously, but they were still 6-6, and you look at like those SP Plus rankings. I think they were still way up there, like on the borderline top 25 team, if not in the top 25. In those rankings. So I don't think the talent level has really been depleted too much. I know Franklin took a ton, and he took a ton from this, freshman class that came with him here to Virginia Tech, but most of those freshmen don't play anyway. I mean, they don't make a big impact on the field. So I think from guys that they retained, guys they brought in from Iowa State, I think that could be a promising program. Another really interesting one to watch this year.
Brandon asking, AB, what's the chances Penn State, you mentioned Tennessee, Penn State or Tennessee will show up on a schedule in Blacksburg in the near future?
Near future, Penn State 0% chance.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Yeah, James Franklin has a say over this stuff. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to go back there and subject himself to that sort of scrutiny going back to where he coached for so long. Just 0% chance. Tennessee, I would say low, but the athletic directors of the two schools happen to be brothers now. Brian White and Danny White. Seems like maybe they could have a family conversation about that.
Thanksgiving dinner, yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner. Let's iron this out. I think this is as likely as a Tennessee Virginia Tech matchup, other than the Battle of Bristol, has ever been. And I would just like to see it happen. It's a matchup that makes too much sense. Don't do it at a neutral site. Don't go to Atlanta and do it. Play it in Neyland. Play it in Lane. Do a home and home. It would be great for the fans around here. Both could travel both directions. It's stupid that they haven't done it, and I'd love to see them actually make that happen. Agreed.
Just like you mentioned earlier, both fan bases will tell you the West Virginia Tech game. That should be, I don't understand how that's just been so way bye to that. Nobody wants to play it anymore. I don't understand. I'm talking about administratively. Fans want it back badly. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting how it goes with that and how this team develops and with the scheduling. People are always going to defend it, I'm with you, though. I'm with you. But West Virginia's got to be on the schedule at some point. And you imagine having a non-conference where you announce West Virginia and Tennessee are on the same docket one year? Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be two power conference teams the same year. No shot.
No shot.
What would be interesting with West Virginia, and I do like the home sites, and they've done that a couple times. I think that's one that, if you wanted to do a neutral site game, you could, and they have in the past at FedEx. Now, don't ever go back to FedEx Field because that place is a dump.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. But once the Commanders build that new stadium, I wonder if they're going to start looking for non-conference games to play their premier marquee showcase games beginning of the year. That could be a way to do it, and you could drive some extra money. You get the DC crowd in there for Virginia Tech. I know they always like doing that. If you have if traveling to Morgantown gives you pause for reasons in the history of this rivalry or fan behavior, and I know it was better last time there, but in the history go back 20 years, that's sort of the reason they discontinued the series. You play it at a neutral site like that. That could work, I think, even though, I'd prefer to see it on the home sites.
Yeah, I would too. You're right. You're so right about Tennessee Tech. If you're going to agree with it, do a home and home, man. Let's get that fervor going. Let that be your opener, and let's just rock and roll. National television, wow.
They don't need to do a Battle of Bristol again. They already did it. It was a spectacle. It was great to be there, and it was an awful viewing experience for everybody in the tent.
Right, yeah.
You're 6 miles away from the field. When we got to the press box, the media gift, they had something sitting there, was binoculars. And you go, oh, okay.
Was it really?
Give me one of these games. It felt like you were covering the game in outer space. I can only imagine if you were sitting in the upper deck at the very top of, I know they only have one deck there, the very top of the grandstand there, how far away, and how they must have looked like ants from up there. And I've been back there for a baseball game, and it was just like, this is cool and a spectacle. I don't like the rain on it, but man, we are sitting in outer space on this thing.
How far away were you from the field down there when you were there?
I mean, nobody was hitting a home run to where we were sitting. I'll tell you that much. It would have, you would have had to have been on steroids plus to be able to do something like that. And then it rained, and it was just an awful experience on top of that.
Yeah. What are you going to be working on this week? I know trying to get as much info as you can out of week one, but what else are you going to be looking at?
Yeah, just practice stuff. See what we can. The media day on Sunday, so we'll get to talk to everybody who's not a freshman. So yeah, lots of stuff up front, and see what people have to say. And it's really, again, it's not until you get the second or third week, so I think you'll have a firm understanding of some of these question marks that we raised at the beginning of the thing. But
yeah,
start to get a little bit of answers right now, I think.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Well, enjoy that on Sunday, and we look forward to talking with you next week. Good to see you again, brother.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, take care. There you go. Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline joining us on the program. Need a presidential escort to get in out of Arkansas? I don't know if it's that bad anymore. The last time Tech played there, I remember fans, we were doing the radio show, and fans were saying that everybody was really accommodating, and West Virginia Tech fans sitting side by side having conversations. And maybe it was because both programs were kind of in a transition of just mediocrity, but I don't know. I think that stuff's a little overblown. I think it was overblown as used as one of the main reasons they decided to stop playing. And I'm not saying those fans are going to, have Sunday after church dinner together, but I don't know if it's as violent as people want to make it out to be. I mean, this isn't the freaking Iron Bowl. You want to go to a violent, potentially physically endangering setting. How about we go to an Iron Bowl? I've been to one of them back when I was in college. Oh my. You haven't seen fan unrest until you've been to an Iron Bowl. Family had Auburn season tickets. He was from that area coming to Radford, and he said, wear neutral clothing. Neutral clothing. Don't wear it. Just wear neutral clothing. Let's see here. Let me trying to coach his email here for Coach Steiny. But anyway, I think that's a little blown out, a little blown up. A little blown up, to be honest. But you tell me there's not one fan, there's not one Tech fan, there's not one West Virginia fan today that would tell you they don't want that game on the schedule. I mean, West Virginia is going through a real transition under Rich Rod. I don't know why. Coach Steiny's email disappeared from the list here. Oh, this thing is... So now he's got to send me another email. It was in the system. It holds these emails, and now all of a sudden it has magically disappeared. So he's sending me the link now, and we get Coach Steiny on. I'm excited to find out what's going on there. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. On the way, Coach. All right. There we go. Coach Steiny will be here soon. Wayne says, I don't want it on schedule. I am one. Wow. But yeah, the Iron Bowl's an experience, man. Woo. Iron Bowl is an experience. It is indeed. Yeah, you want Tennessee on it, but Tennessee, that's likely not going to be something that's going to happen very often. You might be lucky enough to get them on the schedule once. West Virginia would be annual. And that's a rivalry with a lot more substance to it. You want to play Tennessee. It's never going to become a rivalry on the field because neither program has pursued it to make it a regular thing. Fans would like to see it, but it's just not going to happen. They might play once. I doubt there'll ever be a home and home. But we'll see. West Virginia seems very more realistic. And there's enough history there to where I think you'd pick it right up and go. And it's a game that'll make you better. And depending I don't know what they're going to look like. I'm not going to just immediately dismiss Ricky Ronnie. I mean, Coach Elmo said it. I can't imagine ODU is going to have nearly as much talent on their program as they did last year, because they got purged and they had a lot of guys leave. But he's a pretty good football coach, and they're going to be good. Once every 7 years is good. Yikes. So in other words, the span of most people's lifetime, you get to see maybe 3 games. See, that's not a... It's like when they say, hey, here's who's on our schedule in 2036. Hell, that's 10 years away. Who cares? My guess is they will not be playing. That would be my guess, that you won't see that happen. Unless both programs rise up into contention and maybe become such a large event that they would play. But if you have one or both teams kind of teetering, trying to get back to relevance, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, and don't think too, Wayne, Ricky Ronnie's not going to be more up for tech maybe even this year with James Franklin. Now, I know he and Brent Pry were also close. They all came from the same place, but he might be a little more amped up over this one. We never got confirmation. I never saw confirmation that Franklin was going after him to be his offensive coordinator. We heard a lot of reports. We heard a lot of people speculating. Nah, it's not hard. They just don't want to do it. I mean, you could have 2 power games. You could find them. It doesn't have to be Tennessee, but you could find 2 power games. I just think when you want your program to be relevant, and if you really believe that your program is going to be a championship contender, hiding from competition is not the way to get there. And I'm not just talking about Tech. I think what Cignetti's doing is weird. I think a lot of these programs do that. I don't know how you improve in games like that. Sure, it looks better on the left-handed column of your record at the end of the year, I guess. But you say one thing about what you're aspiring to be, but then your actions immediately counter that by the schedule you put out there. I mean, joining us now on the program, and I know he's excited, Coach Brian Steinspring, the Roanoke College Maroons, rocking and rolling. What's up, Coach? How happy are you right now, man? You're back on the field. You look great, by the way. Look at you.
Well, I appreciate it. Give me a few days, okay? A, I won't have a voice. B, I'll be a little disheveled. I can only hope. We actually don't start till Monday.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And I'm bringing with us bringing a third of our team in these first couple years. I've moved towards bringing the incomers in a day early, and we'll actually practice one day with just the incomers. We'll go through a whole routine with them, and I think it's benefited us a little bit because we count probably more so than most people do at this point in time on getting help from an incoming class, especially the true freshmen that are coming in. So we got to get them off to a good start, and so we're doing that, and it all starts Monday. Rick, at this point in time, back in around the 4th of July, I'm on a lake and I'm just wanting time to stop, right? Let's just freeze up here for a little bit. But at this juncture, I can't wait till Monday. At this point in time, let's call them, see if they can get here a day or two early, and let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
That's where I am at this point in time.
Well, I always like, digging into your program coach, and here you are now in year 2. What's it like now? What's the biggest differences now that you're getting more established and you've gone through this now? What's the biggest difference from this year to last year that you can just right off the top look at and see, wow, we're rolling now, instead of creating?
Without question, it's leadership. We had, when you bring in the first class and the second class, there's no seniors, there's no juniors, there's nobody that understands the standards or can reflect the standards other than the football coaches, right? And so, quite honestly, the growth in our leadership capabilities is in a better spot than it's been. We're not where we need to be, but at least we have a group that we consider follow those guys, do what they do, reflect what they reflect, those type things. So we actually had the Marines come in the spring. I know this. You say, what are you doing over there? And they've done it. They've done it with us in the spring a couple different times. They put us through these teamwork exercises that are really, there's some carryover, but it's that life. It's that ultimate teamwork that they portray. And a couple of the leaders, one of the sergeants came up and said, the biggest difference in your football team from last year when we did this to this year is the growth in leadership. So we need to continue on that trend right now.
I like that, though. That's a great message to the guys to see that group of people coming in and really talking about what that subject means, right? What leadership's all about. There's nobody more qualified than the men and women who serve this country. I love it. I think that's a great idea. I do.
They are wonderful, and it's not easy. It is a challenging deal, and it's for what they're asking to do. But the purpose behind it speaks volumes. They're matter of fact. We make mistakes. We don't operate as a team, as a football. You lose a ball game, or you don't have a good series or a good half. When they make mistakes, the ultimate bad can happen in that situation. So our players really respond to the messaging that they bring to us.
Well, personnel-wise, Coach, I know have you pieced your roster together? How you feeling about your team that you're bringing out? You mentioned leadership, and you mentioned the guys coming back, guys now acclimated to your system going into year 2.
I feel much better. Are we there yet? And this is a constant theme. I speak in different places. I address our staff. I address our team. I address administration, whoever I can open up the refrigerator, and I start telling the condiments in the refrigerator the same message, right? We're here, but we haven't arrived, and there's a difference, and you have to understand that. We're here. We planted a pretty strong flag last year about who we are and what our
intentions
are.
You did,
but we're not. But we're not. We haven't arrived. And, and I'm very open about all this. I spent time in the off season looking at playoff caliber teams that we hope to aspire to be. And I say, okay, where do we relate? And of course, even with our own league, the teams that are in the postseason play, but other teams like a John Carroll that is constantly in the Final Four, obviously. Anybody at Wisconsin Wisconsin at Oshkosh, Wisconsin at White.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Wisconsin at River Falls. I mean, I tell our team the component that has to have a great August camp is the line of scrimmage. You know me, you know my background, Rick. I believe I don't care how talented you are. The games are won at the line of scrimmage, and the closer to the ball that you are, you have to be really, really good. and we have good players, are we ready to be that type of group on both sides that can enable you to win the close games, to be able to run the ball when you need to be able to run the ball, to be able to stop the run when you need to be able to stop the run. Man, so that's going to be a major focal point as we move through August camp.
Well, and along those lines, Coach, not only because of what makes a football team strong up front on both sides, but how much have you, as you've evolved as a head coach now here at Roanoke College, how much do you go back to all your different stops and remember some of the key elements of when you realized it was right and you were heading in the right direction? How much have you been able to go back and just borrow from the things you contributed and other coaches and players also contributed?
Well, I've been doing this a long time. I'm not going to tell you how long I've been doing it. Y'all can figure it out, right? But you bring up again another interesting point here. It's not the number of X's and O's I can draw. It's the experience it's the experience part of it. The T-shirts that I tell everybody, I have a lot of storage areas. Got a lot of T-shirts in there, right? Different kinds of T-shirts, but at the end of the day, it's the experience part of it. So I draw on that quite a bit. What enabled us to get from this point to this point in Virginia Tech? What enabled us to at James Madison to be able to get from a continuous playoff team to playing for national championships? What was the key factors and ingredients in all those places that I've been? So absolutely, that experience, those moments in your life, I go back to constantly. We can say that the game has changed, and we like to get the game to change. I think sometimes I don't like it to change that much. Yeah. I love the game as it is, but those things are valuable and valid no matter what, and they will continuously be valid. I mean, the components at Virginia Tech where special teams, the value of the special teams, we talk about it as coaches, right? Special teams, but do you really buy into the concept that special teams win games, or is it just a part of the game?
Right.
And there's a difference, and what you invest into it tells you. At the end of the day, that tells you where you are with special teams. The value of leadership, the growth of leadership, your work habits. Do your habits reflect your goals? All those things. But I refer to that quite often, quite frequently.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? Because it's what was it John Wooden used to say? You can't ever have a perfect practice, but if you practice to try to strive to be perfect, that's what pays off, right? Because you're trying to get those concepts and those things that are going to be redundant in the best way possible. And that's ownership. That's guys taking ownership in their job on your football team right there and within your program.
Absolutely. And taking ownership is, I started telling our team in the spring, this is not my team. This is our team. And you have to invest in our team. I think the biggest component that they've had to learn is the value of preparing on your own, what that looks like. Because if you don't define it, you don't show it to them, but you see it happening. So they're hearing it. But, you refer to John Wooden. I mean, for all those national championships he had, the first thing he taught his basketball team when they came on the court was how to put their socks on. So what I'm getting to is if we can master the little things and doing the little things well, then we're going to be okay.
Yeah, Bill Walton said he took an hour and a half to show you how to put your shoes on. First day of practice. Coach Wooden.
Yeah, you're going to be playing for it.
Let's get the socks and shoes right, and then everything else falls into place. Yeah.
That's right. I mean, but it's just a concept, right? I mean, you got to do these little things. And, they get ready to play for the 6th straight national championship. They still got to learn to put their socks on correctly. And, but there's a reason for it.
That's right. That's right.
Coach Wood didn't want him to ever come to him and say he had a blister. And that was his point of the whole deal. Well, here's how we're going to prevent it. But it's little things. It's mastering the little things. And I think the first year we were such not a scramble, but you had a whole new team that we had to spend too much time just on the big picture, right? I mean, getting them on, who's getting on the bus, how you getting off the bus, where's the water bottles, and we weren't able to really focus in and dial in on a number of little things that we've now been able to do, and that's been really critical.
All right, Coach. So finally, when you get ready to hit the field next week, you get the guys around this weekend, what kind of tone, what are you looking for the first couple days to kind of get the ball rolling momentum-wise into practice week?
Energy and urgency. Energy and urgency. I want us to come out, and you got to get past everybody in America is going to have energy on the first day of practice. They come rolling out of the locker room. Can't wait to get there. But they gotta stack those days. And that's where a young team or some teams don't ever really get to the next level because you can't stack that energy. You can't make it just become a mainstay within how you do things. And there has to be a constant level of urgency. If you come to some of our practices, you happen to stop by here, you'll feel my urgency. And I want to feel their urgency. But we got to make sure that our energy level, whatever it is on Tuesday morning, it needs to be on Wednesday morning. It needs to be on Thursday morning. And that level of energy that carries over to the urgency level. Be urgent about what we're doing here. We can't come back and say, okay, we'll get it tomorrow. And then when you have the ability to start stacking your days, 1 day's good, 2 days good, 3 days good, then you get yourself in a position to be successful. It's when you have that one good day, second good day, parts of the third day are pretty good. You have the fourth practice. It's always a fourth practice. I always get weird. That's the one. Okay, we're a little sore. We're a little tired. The newness is rubbed off. Where are you at that? Can you start stacking your days? And that's where we have to get to, is be better about constantly stacking days so we can constantly be moving forward.
Well, finally, Coach, let me ask. I got a question here from one of our watchers. What have you been most impressed with Salem? And I know you've talked about how great the fans were. The fan reaction to your program has been tremendous, hasn't it?
It has. And Rick, you and I have talked about this. I mean, for me to be here to take this job, I recognize that this community, how it supports all things Salem, Roanoke. I mean, to have the call Salem refers to itself as a championship city, and that doesn't just deal with Salem High School. It just the number of championships that are played here at all levels.
Right.
There is a genuine love for sports. There's a genuine desire to help support. I would not have taken this job, nor would we be at this spot without the support that we've received from our administration and this community. No doubt about it. For any success, there's a dream of bond, a goal of bond, a hoist a trophy. When that occurs, there'll be a lot of hands on that may not actually be right there, but there'll be a lot of hands that were involved in lifting that trophy.
Well, I know one thing. It's going to be a terrific progression report here in year number 2 to get to that goal, Coach. And congratulations on everything, man. I know you're ramping to get up this weekend, get the guys back, and we're pulling like hell for you. And whenever you have time, I'd like to get you on as the season progresses, as always, and keep up with Roanoke College football and you, my friend.
Well,
more important.
I appreciate you, my good friend. I really do, and I appreciate you having us on. And I'll get on. I'll wake up. Just let me know. I'm gonna be up. Okay,
you will be up. I know that.
So, I'm already on coffee too, so I'm ready to go.
You're ready to rock and roll. Practice can't start soon enough for you. I know.
You cannot. You have a great day, and I appreciate it.
All right, my friend. You too. Take care, Coach. We'll see you, man. See you soon.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. There you go. Coach Steinspring here on the program. He is just one of the best people I've ever met since I've been doing these types of things, but he's one hell of a football coach. I hope people understand that he is one hell. I'm going to talk about that with Dwight. I don't think he gets, I mean, I know when there were people complained about the offense at times, but the way he recruited, the way he developed linemen, they have the perfect guy starting up that program. They just do. They have the perfect guy. In year two, they were good. I mean, he's right. They planted their flag quite emphatically in year number one. I got to get down there. I got to try to get down there. I want to get down there for a game or two. I'd like to be down there. But the fans have been great. And that's an easy dude to pull for right there. That's an easy guy to root for. Thanks to Family Fencing. They're also easy to root for. They return as our studio sponsor, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Get your free quote. We still got plenty of time here in the warm months, but they will also do it in the wintertime. McClellan Chiropractic. Mark Hundley, 155 Walters Drive. He's the best backcracker in the biz, and now he's using all the latest technology. It's incredible, the things that he has at his disposal. He loves it when I call him a backcracker. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street, Christiansburg. Give James a call, 5403-18011. Manufactured parts for your home. The NRV Super Bowl, 382-5525. Leagues are forming now. Men's, women's, and mixed for kids. I might go over there Saturday night. I'm thinking about it. Yeah. I got a build on my 186. Sundown Electric, the Smith Brothers. Thanks for their support. One of the best reputations of any regional or local business down in Elliston. Go look at the reviews. Everyone 5-star. I checked it again last week. Keep prices down. Give them a call. They'll always update you on how the progression of whatever project they're working on for you. ReadySetFund.com. It's been a terrific program. BobChrist11 at Gmail. Floyd County Girls Softball have utilized it now the last couple of years. They raised $4,300 for new uniforms, equipment for their team. A lot of other programs are going to be doing that, and we wish them nothing but the best going forward. Professional Door Incorporated, thanks to Travis Williams, residential commercial garage door, 674-0008. Hope you took advantage of the $40 off during their 40-year celebration in July for preventative maintenance. If you didn't, why? National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of yours truly and this program. I've been with them for over 35 years, and the service now is second to none. Go into one of the banks and tell me you don't get an immediate smile and a question of, hey, how are you? How are you doing today? How can I help you? It means a lot. BDST Fan Question of the Week brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 Main Street. We've gotten 8 more this morning. We're looking for your pick of the national title game. Who's it going to be? College football. I'm not going to give anything away because it's really cool. We've got 3 matchups that are battling. Little River Heating and Air. Talked to Charles Lee yesterday. They will return to sponsor a program, and they are terrific. He actually answered his own phone yesterday because I think the person who normally does that was on vacation. So, hey, this is Charles. Hey, what's up, man? It's Rick. Hey, what's up? They're doing great. Congratulations, and thanks to them so much. 540-553-2971. If you drive around Blacksburg, Christiansburg, New River Valley, you're going to see the blue and black vehicles. You're going to know that there's a reason. There's a reason. And we are presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller. They will also return as our title sponsor. Couldn't do any of this without any of you folks. Thank you so much. Thank you. Year 2 is Tuesday. Wow. I mean, year 1. Well, we start year 2 on Tuesday. Can you believe we're finishing year 1? Let me get Creed here. And then we're going to get into Dwight Vick, and we're going to talk about a couple of things here, see what he says. So let me get this taken care of. You're used to it by now. He's very high maintenance. And we had a bee. We had a very large bee. I have the door cracked here now. Try to keep him in and out because I forgot today. And as soon as I open the door, a big one of those landing on my face during the middle of the show. Yeah, we will be. Wow, I'm sorry, I haven't announced it yet. Yeah, we'll be doing Pop tonight. Big Dog Pop will be back tonight, 6:45. It's been growing in anticipation. A lot of people asked. I'm sorry I haven't brought it up. Yeah, we'll be doing that tonight. We'll be doing that tonight. 6:45. Join us. Come and chat. We can throw you on the air. Talk about all sorts of stuff. But we'll be popping tonight. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Well, that's right, Wayne. You were one of the early. We've had quite a few Oklahoma OSUs. Oklahoma steps it up this year. Defense is going to be really good, at least on paper. Notre Dame, Oklahoma, getting a lot of rave reviews for their defense. Ohio State. And we'll see how all that plays out. Got to play the games. Got to play the games, but we'll see. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. It's awesome that we're now well over 1,000 subscribers, year one. We'll do some reminiscing next Tuesday for the end of year one. This time last year, I remember scrambling around, realizing that the other studio that I was going to use was not going to work as well as I needed it to. And then reached out to somebody that I watch on YouTube, and they said, yeah, why don't you look into StreamYard? It's kind of what the industry standard has been here on YouTube. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, damn, it's expensive. Well, there is a reason, right? And I know we have some things that go on, but it is it has been the thing that's kind of tipped the iceberg here, no doubt. Yes, Gary and Tommy, I did make. If you look in the left corner, or it's my left corner, I put the secondary logo up. Yeah, I don't. Secondary logo is on the T-shirt. I don't use the secondary logo enough, but there's the T-shirt, and this right here on the front is the secondary logo. So, and so I changed it up. on the back, you have the big logo, like when you see the face. Like if I'm on screen, colors. I did that just for Wayne. Wayne was requesting that the secondary logo have the old Denver Bronco colors that they wore when John Elway was continuously defeating the Browns in the AFC Championship games. I would love to have Spider-Man talk on Pop. I've been popping to talk about Spidey, and I'll tell you one thing: if we get into it tonight, we will have spoilers. I will put up, okay, here come the spoilers. If you don't want to know, then don't. I hate to say it, but don't watch. But I will start out vague, and then we'll get into spoilers. I'll say this. I knew. That was the big dog toilet paper suggestion. I'll say this. The more I've gotten away from the movie, the more I've thought about it. I do kind of want to see it again. I like it less. Are you going to get a top moments of BDST year one? Or are we going to... Hell, I don't remember what happened yesterday, Brandon. The biggest moment of the channel came, unfortunately, with bad news. To be perfectly honest with you. Because that was the night after Old Dominion beat up on the Hokies, and we kind of knew Brent Pry was done, and we had the emergency Armageddon session with Dwight, and we had over 1,000 people at one time watching that. That was kind of the watershed moment, and you hope you don't have moments like that going forward due to a loss. Who helped with the logo design? I actually thought about what I wanted in the logo, but once I had the little sketches, the things that I wanted, and then I just kind of described them into I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. I mean, that's no big deal. It was a certain type of AI designer program, and you just have to enter every little detailed bit, Low Country. And you just put it up and you hope that it comes across. And I think it pretty much nailed it, especially with this one here, the secondary logo. And I don't remember what it was. It was something it wasn't, it was a studio AI. It wasn't like chat, whatever it is. I don't even know what the hell it's called. GP something, GPT or whatever. It wasn't that, and it wasn't Grok. It was something else. But, yeah, I didn't have a designer that I could hire, so I kind of had to do it myself. It's been different in that regard, but it's been rewarding too. I've had to teach myself a lot of the things through this, a lot of the troubleshooting, but that's okay. Yeah, the first time Coach Elmo was on, you kind of knew, yeah, that was a special moment. It was. Great stuff. Thanks again to David Smith, Andy Bitter, Coach Steinspring, and now we top it off. The cherry on top of the ice cream sundae, the White Vic. What's up, DV? Good morning.
What's going on? Good morning to you and the viewers and listeners. Good morning.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing
everybody
great.
Good?
Yeah, everybody good, man. I feel like I need a day or two off. I feel like the days are just rolling together, man. Like I can't believe it's Thursday. When you text me to confirm, I'm like, dang, it's tomorrow's Thursday. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. You know, and that's the one thing I always say when football season comes. When football season arrives, I really feel like the season. I say this every year on your show. It goes by fast, so enjoy it. It seems like November and December are so far away, but I always felt like when football season comes, the year speeds up, and next thing you know, you're saying Happy New Year. When you look at I don't know, basketball and others, baseball, those sports seem to last forever, especially the summer months. I don't know what sports season that is, but the summer seems to last forever. Maybe it's the anticipation of the season coming. You want the season to get here, but football season goes by fast. That's why I feel like these days are going by fast right now.
Yeah. Well, you've told me that in the past. You're like, I've been a good barometer for the week. Like when you hear from me, oh, we're getting toward the end of the week now, so that's good.
Yep. Sure is. Absolutely.
Hey, I want to start off talking about the gentleman that just was on before you. I think we all know what a terrific person Brian Stinespring is. You've talked about what he has meant to you. And we know, and everybody's pulling like hell for him down in Roanoke, but he is one hell of a football coach, too. He doesn't get nearly enough credit, does he, for, at least in my mind, for the type of coach that he really is.
You know, it's funny, too, you say that because one thing I do every year, going back to when I was in high school, is to get ready for the season. I will watch my old games, especially old Tech games. I've been watching. I've been posting a lot of highlights too, but I watched the last 2 or 3 nights the Miami game when Miami came into Lane Stadium, having won the national championship a year or so before, and they had won 39 straight games, and Tech beat them 31-7 or something like that. And I watched the Miami game when they came to Lane Stadium with Tyrod and Ryan Williams. They were ranked 11th. I'm watching all these games, and a lot of Tech fans will be critical of Stinespring when he was the OC. And I'm like, man, you guys can talk about numbers, but between his recruiting and the talent that he got on the field, such as guys like Cam Chancellor and Darryl Tapp and so many guys, and then you look at how the offenses might not have been like 45 points a game, but you talk about there was an identity. They used the tight ends. They were able to run the ball efficiently, and they had great receivers, and they were an efficient and very good offense. And I think hindsight's 20/20, but I think a lot of times Tech fans, when they talk about Stinespring, they get emotional because I don't know why some of those people feel like he was a bad OC, because for what we had and what we did and accomplished under him, ACC championship games, 11 win seasons, these guys that are household names that stay entrenched in our memory, many of them are kids he recruited who came to Tech and exceeded expectations. So some of them were young men that did not have any offers, or maybe a couple of offers, and Stinespring was a difference. He was a pretty remarkable piece. I was surprised too when Brent Pry got the job, and Stinespring made it known he wanted to come back, and we didn't bring him on. And he didn't even need to come on as the OC. He wanted to come on and be the recruiting coordinator. He just wanted to get back to Virginia Tech, and they didn't give him a look. And I get it. You might want to get your own guys in, but as much as we talk about my guy Bud Foster and some of the other guys like Todd Grantham, Stinespring was huge in the recruiting and the coaching in Blacksburg, and he earned it. Like, respectfully, he came there. He came to Tech as a GA, and he broke down film. Then he earned and worked his way up to a tight ends coach, and then he eventually became the O-line coach my senior year with Derek Smith and Matt Lair and Josh Redding and those guys, Keith Short. And then he, after I left a year or so later, he became the OC. And, there will always be cynics that say, well, this is why Beamer didn't win the big one, because you got to go out and hire somebody that was established. I get it. That's a fair point. But what he did while he was there, the offenses weren't ranked in the top 20, but I'm going to say this so the people in the back hear me. When Stinespring was the OC, the head coach, Beamer, wanted a game plan a certain way, right? And I think this is why I say sometimes people don't know what the hell they're talking about when they get critical, because Beamer was always going to want us to run the ball, play quality offense, opportunistic offense, and not give the game away. Silent Spring wanted to do a lot more than he did. He wanted to chuck the ball down the field a little bit more and run it up, but that was not what Beamer was all about. And you got to respect that. Sometimes people think, a coach has more power than he does, but that's the way Tech played. But, they had a very good run when he was there, and he was an integral part of that.
See, that's a great point. He did not create an offense without Coach Beamer basically directing it, right? So, and I think there were a lot of things he wanted to try, but he had enough respect for his boss to say, okay, well, this is what we're going to do within that time, that framework you've given me. And that's what they did. And boy, it's kind of hard to question the success that they built up into, right? Come on.
My whole thing is, you look at under Silent Spring, you beat Miami on the road, like in 2004 to win the ACC championship. In 2003, I'm pretty sure he was OC there with Brian Randall and Jay Grove and those guys. You beat Texas A&M, you beat LSU, you got Kevin Jones and Lee Suggs. I mean, you talk about what he was a part of. You go to West Virginia. You beat West Virginia one year when they're sixth in the nation. They come to Lane Stadium. You beat them. I mean, it was a 1916 win. So I'm not saying like Silent Spring's the main guy. What I'm saying is the formula worked, because during that era, you won games, whether it was with 2 block punts or 3 rushing touchdowns, or Logan Thomas, doing what he needed to do in the zone read. My point being is, when you look at the results, it worked. Now, we didn't win the ultimate big game, but what I'm getting at is, if you look at this current state of affairs prior to Franklin getting here, the average Tech fan would tell you they would kill to go back to those results, right? And that's
100%, 100%.
Yeah. So it worked. I mean, it worked. And my biggest component that I enjoyed was the fact that offensively and defensively, Virginia Tech had an identity. Yeah.
All right, so another thing I want to ask you about, we got into a little bit, was with this scheduling a little bit. Are you bothered by a schedule that looks like what James Franklin's going to be committed to? It's not going to be very challenging in the non-conference. They don't want to play more than 10 power games. Or do you understand that thought process a little more? Like this year it's VMI, next year you get Citadel and Liberty, and he's already said that he's not going to play beyond 10 games outside the Power Four. Do you agree with that philosophy, or do you want to see this program challenge itself to give games to the fans, to make sure? I think it helps get kids to come here, even if we're paid for play. But what's your take on the scheduling aspect of it?
I see both sides. I see why it's important to play at LSU or a Texas A&M or somebody at Texas. However, Franklin is building Virginia Tech. It's not a rebuild. The same thing I said about Brent Pry was a build, right? So if you look back in the Beamer years, even going back to when I was there, when Beamer, the first several years with Drunken Miller and Maurice Scezo and all those quarterbacks and those great teams he had, they were not burning up the schedule with power schools. It was New Kent or Kent State, not New Kent, that's in Virginia. It was Kent State, it was Miami of Ohio, it was UAB at UAB. People have selective memories. Virginia Tech in the early years, and I'm talking about Big East years, not when it was an independent. As an independent, they played Oklahoma, Florida State, Oklahoma State. They played some. At one time, they had the #1 schedule in the nation, but that was as an independent in the late 80s. As a Big East foe, Beamer and his staff's mindset was, we have Miami, we have West Virginia, we have Syracuse, and we have West Virginia. We're going to just take it easy out of conference. And then when he finally started getting, established, then you saw them open up against Alabama, just that one Chick-fil-A kickoff. You saw them also open up against USC when they were the 2-time defending national champions. He progressed to that point. Kids are going to come now because of different reasons versus when I was coming. They're going to come for, money, uniforms, playing time, culture, facilities. You know, there's a plethora of reasons. Scheduling does matter, but with the ACC now, you can always sell a kid on the fact that you're playing Miami and Clemson, and a few other, Florida State. You know, that still matters. And you still, you know, everybody comes on TV now, whether you go to ODU or Virginia Tech. I think this is going to probably ruffle some feathers when it comes to scheduling. I actually am okay with it because I don't trust Virginia Tech.
I know. Yeah,
I don't, not yet. You know, I don't like, okay, Maryland, right? The Terrapins have had back-to-back 4-8 seasons. I don't know if Virginia Tech's going to go into Bird Stadium and win that game. So why am I 2 years from now or next year going to throw on a school that is like a household name in the college football, a Big Ten school like, let's say, Michigan? That would be great. The excitement, you know, in Lane Stadium or at a neutral field would be amazing. But I feel like you got to work your way up to that. And if you look at some of the schools that are getting into the playoffs or some of the powers that we talk about every year, like Georgia and Alabama, look at their schedule. I ask everybody, because what the SEC says is we're not going to play. We might play one big game outside of the conference, but other than that, we're going to beat up on some teams. Look at Clemson's schedule. Clemson, the Citadel every year, Centerville Popcorn State. You know, they're playing teams that you're like, where did they find this school at, right?
Popcorn State.
we you know, I think fans got to slow it down a little. Yeah, we got to slow it down a little bit, man. I mean, the schedule is the schedule. We just had a meeting, former players, with Franklin earlier this week. It was Monday night. Yeah, it went very well, and he made it clear that he's trying to win. He wants to win, and he's going to do it his way, and he's going to do it the right way. So, you know, he also made it clear. He said, "I'm a little irritated." I'm paraphrasing that everybody's assuming VMI is a foregone conclusion that we're going to blow them out. Now, I know coach speak, and he's got to be that way because you can't disrespect your opponent. But the VMI game, respectfully, guys, is sold out. It's a night game, and it's sold out. So Tech fans are going to go. One thing about fans, they're going to show up at Tech. They're going to show up for
Tech they will. Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
They're going to show up for the University of Richmond at home when Fuente was a coach, and we barely won that game if it wasn't for Tavion Robinson's punt return. They're going to show up, you know, for the Crystal City Lakers. I mean, you know, they're going to show up. I mean, the schedule is the schedule. I know, just to kind of put a cherry on that, Virginia Tech, if this continues over the next several years, it's going to be frustrating because if you're winning and you establish yourself, you start getting back ranked again, you're playing for a conference championship, you're winning 10-plus games, you should challenge yourself. But Franklin has his way of doing things, and I got to respect that for now. We'll see. But again, my ultimate as a fan and former player, I don't have a problem with it because I don't trust Virginia Tech yet. I don't trust them to take care of business. I just don't. I've been watching a lot of old games. Gosh, Rick, let me tell you, last year Virginia Tech gave away so many games. It was disturbing. They was almost like, let's figure out a way how to lose this game today. Let's give the Syracuse game, up 21 on the road, a place they never win at. They've only won one time with a guy from Newport News that ran around the end after he was sacked 6 times that night. Michael Vick for a touchdown. They don't win at Syracuse. They were up 21 points and gave it away. You know, so I don't trust them right now. So it is what it is.
I remember you saying, and I guess it's the worst thing a fan base can have. You were telling me the last couple of years, in particular 3 years, that you just watched Tech knowing, like what you just said, you just knew they were going to not win, right? And that's a terrible feeling for a fan. You just knew that something was going to happen. And how many times did that actually happen, right? Too many. Far too many.
Yeah, I just said it a few seconds ago. We found so many ways to give games away, but when I say I don't trust Tech, I saw some tweet by my guy Billy Ray Mitchell from Sons of the Saturday. He said, "I bet the over on Tech's wins this season." There's a lot of hype around an unproven team and an unproven roster. I think Tech will be a very solid team this year with the potential to surprise some people. I think Tech can win 8+ games, but that is more so based on what I think Franklin will do as a coach, getting them ready to play and his coaching staff following suit. But overall, based on what I've seen the last 6 years, I don't trust it. And I will tell you this, if you give away games to SMU or you have Clemson on the road on the ropes and you're up 24-20 and you find a way to lose the game, no one's going to say it's his first year. So let me elaborate on that for a second. Brent Pry was in his first year and second year, and he was like, first-time head coach, doesn't have the talent, needs more NIL money. Franklin won't get the benefit of the doubt with that. The same people now that are talking about how great he is on all these national shows and picking him to do these great things, recruiting is going well. These are the same people that are going to be criticizing the hire if Tech goes 6-6. They can't go 6-6 because you can't justify going 6-6 in your first year with all the money that's been spent, right?
Right.
I can't take her to the hotel after a great dinner and we had a great time, candlelight dinner, and I bought you this and you went a dress and we went here, and we go back to the room and you give me a hug. No.
Or the handshake, the double handshake. No. Thank you.
Hey, listen, respectfully, I'm married. This is before. I'm saying for my single men out there, you got to close the deal. I don't want a hug. I want a night of passion. I just took you here. And I'm not saying just because I did that in all seriousness, but you guys get my point. We can't spend all this money for a hug. We can't. we gotta close the deal. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say it has to be 10+ wins. But I'm saying, with the talent coming back, and people say, well, the roster wasn't great. What I'm saying is, when you look at the roster the last few years, it wasn't really about it being talented. It was about it being coached and being motivated and knowing what to do. So I trust Franklin. I don't trust Tech. And I need him to get that trust in me and guys that really know what we need to be looking at. So we'll see what happens. That's right. Because soon it will be kickoff.
No, that's a terrific point. There's not going to be, you're right. And for Pry, it was, hey, he never has been a head coach, or, wow, Tech doesn't really have the money in place yet. Well, that's not the case now. Money has been the biggest thing they've talked about going forward, right? Improving this, improving that. This is his third stop as a head coach. He just left a blue blood. There's not going to be any, you're right. That's a great point. None of that's going to come into play here if it goes bad. I don't think it's going to go very bad, but if it does, you're right. He's not going to get that at all.
You listen, they have a legitimate chance to start the season off 5-0. And you look back at UVA, you look back at other schools, many times since the beginning of football. If a team that gets momentum to start the season, it doesn't mean they're going to carry it all the way to the finish line, but it does help a lot for your trajectory to finish strong, to have a great season. If you just get guys' confidence and you win a game, you go and you beat VMI, 41-7, and then or 41-0, and then you go on the road, or you host ODU and you beat them convincingly. I mean, I'm talking about a beatdown. Like, you blow them out or you beat them convincingly. And you go to Maryland and you win, 33-14. That's 3-0. That's a 3 solid, decent wins. And then you beat BC, which you should win. You're 4-0. And that is what you want. And then, now You come back home opener, Pittsburgh, Narduzzi, kids always tough, ready to fight. It's going to be a lot of sideline warnings, a lot of confrontations, a couple of personal fouls. It might be an ejection on their part, but you win an ugly fist fight because with Pittsburgh, it's a fist fight. You got to match. Narduzzi, he knows who Franklin is. He knows about what he did at Penn State and the recruits he took from Pittsburgh. Narduzzi is going to make that game personal, and I'm here for it. So when Pittsburgh comes to Lane Stadium with all that smoke and you win that game and you show mental and physical toughness and you're 5-0, oh, man, listen. Now we're talking about what we need to be talking about versus LED lights and fish fries and turkey legs and back in the day. Now we're talking about football. Now we're talking about what it's supposed to look like. And that's what you want. That's what you want. You want an opportunity to be in the conversation of your Virginia Tech. And not only are you undefeated if you take care of business, but you're 2-0 in the ACC. Right?
Yeah, right. 2-0, right.
Yeah.
And let's get way ahead of ourselves. And Pitt has 4 home games to start the season. So you could look at 2 teams 4-0. That could be a nationally covered hype game that night. That could evolve into that. Now we're a month into the season. Could happen, but they both could be 4-0. So how great would that be? That'd be fun.
That would be great. But I'm here for it because, from a national perspective, the ACC needs Florida State, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, SMU, and a few other schools to be great. They need that. I'm not trying to poo-poo on some of these other schools, but Duke and Wake Forest being ranked and being good, perception doesn't help. I'll even throw in Georgia Tech as far as if they're playing great football, it helps the ACC just because they're more of a basketball school, but they have a very good football tradition in history. So you need more teams in ACC to be relevant, not to be Miami's service dog, but more so because if you're winning and you get a chance to be at the top of the conference and the conference is playing well, you got credibility if you're Virginia Tech or Georgia Tech or, it's funny how perspective will change. Like, because how long have I been throwing sarcasm and condescending shots at Miami, right? About how they've been back. They're back. Herb Street glazing them every weekend on game day about how they're back.
Every weekend. Yeah.
And then they finally do show up last year. And now it's like, oh, there's no way Miami loses. Miami, like, yo, look, stop, man. And, you talk about scheduling, Rick. Look at Miami's schedule. I looked at that. I sometimes, in between my work and my sessions, I look at some of these schedules. Miami's not going to blow you away with their schedule. I think right now, it used to be with the BCS era and everything when the coaches and AP polls matter, out of conference scheduling really, really had an impact. But with the playoff having 12 teams and JMU and Tulane getting in, to be honest with you, going back to that question, it's the path of least resistance. So some of these schools are avoiding confrontations. They're avoiding smoke. And it's working, So, yeah, it's all going to play out. That's the beauty. In a few more weeks, all this is going to start to play out. We're going to see who's pretending, who's just been talking versus who's been putting in that work.
And we'll start to learn because there's still so much unknown about all these teams with all these portal players, changing addresses. And that's the thing. It's such a crapshoot. That's what makes it so much fun, though. You don't really know who might turn it upside down from a year ago, like UVA did, like Duke did late in the year. I mean, nobody had that on their bingo card. Nobody had Wake winning 9 games. They were picked dead last. So it's going to be fun, man, because we just don't know. There's so much unknown going into it. So
yeah, and going back to Wake, it's funny you brought Wake up. Wake did not have a really tough conference. Wake Forest typically plays an HBCU. Directional. They usually play a directional North Carolina school. And then, they're playing, a lot of times if you're watching college football in the fall, you'll see the Wake Forest score go across the bottom line. It'll be like Wake Forest 55, Ball State 7. I'm like, what? They playing Ball State? And it's like, like all of a sudden, Wake Forest is 5-0. And that's kind of what you got to do now, man. And that's the whole point about, that's why I don't understand why fans get so upset. High school fans too, with preseason rankings. It literally is just some random dude or somebody giving their opinion. And that's what it's about. And opinions don't win games. So I will say with Virginia Tech, there's still question marks. Like historically, Virginia Tech has had some of the best receiving cores in conference play when they had Jared Boykin and Danny Cole, or you look back when they had Darrell Roberts and those guys. And then you look back, when they had Cornelius White, Brian Steele, Antonio Freeman, or, Justin Harper, Josh Morgan, David Clowney, and Eddie Royal. Look what the names are. And that's just, look at that receiving core, right? You throw in a very good tight end. I can't tell you right now. I know there are people in the comments that know. Shout out to my guy, Chris, my brother, that knows about the receivers. But what I'm saying is, if you're looking at Virginia Tech from a scouting standpoint, you might know how Franklin likes to use the tight ends in the offense, but I can't tell you who you fear on the outside. And that's going to be what I'm curious to see. And this is why you want to have a VMI and ODU, because those guys got to get their feet wet. They got to get some traction. They got to get out there and get some highlights, make some catches. This is not a team this year that should open up with a Tennessee or someone like that. But that's the question marks I have. I know about running back with Hawkins and Jeffrey Overton Jr. I think Jeffrey Overton Jr., I've been saying this since I coached against Jeffrey Overton Jr. when he was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, whatever. I've known the young man. He's from up here in Prince William County, where I live in Northern Virginia. He is special. And I'm telling you right now, he is special. He got hurt last year, going into the season, and he came back late. And you saw him break off that long run against Miami. That's a sip of what he's capable of. So if Tech can get the running game going with Hawkins and Jeffrey Overton Jr., that play action, 21 personnel, how they use the tight ends, and then you get some receivers to step up, you average about 29, 31 points a game, you'll be good. The defense needs to step up. That's a question mark too. Pride, you're up next. You're, Pride. Well, Pride, you're a defensive coordinator, man. Let's see what you got. I know. You think about, Virginia Tech, people talk a lot about personnel and underachieving and disappointment. The biggest disappointment that has derailed Tech the last handful of years as far as wins and losses is their defense. I mean, blown assignments, guys running wide open, personal fouls that were unnecessary, targeting penalties. Beamer had a saying a long time when he gave us our pregame speech. He would always say, play with intelligent recklessness. Intelligent recklessness. I saw when I was a red shirt, I traveled 4 games. When I first heard that, I said, what the hell is that? And then you watch Virginia Tech play, and you were like, oh, especially on defense. They were flying around, but they were never out of control. They knew how to take the right angles. They made game-winning plays. Think about Pearson Prelo getting the interception against Miami in the end zone to secure a 2-point win. You think about Willie Powell getting an interception at Syracuse when they're going in for the winning touchdown. You think about J.C. Price sack along with Cornell against Miami, then Lauren Johnson knocking the ball down to get the first ever win against Miami. You talk about, these linebackers we had, man, beating UVA at home to go win 17-0 when the DB and Vince Hall just stifled the run game. Jimmy Williams walking down Pierman to save a tackle. Tiki Barber being walked down by Torian Gray. Big showdown against UVA in 1996. Defense, game-winning plays. Not guys getting blown out because they're pointing at each other, don't know, and the guys running wide open. I'm tired of seeing that. So that's one thing I can't wait to see what Pride dials up. Not so much against VMI, but what does he dial up against Boston College, Maryland, and Pittsburgh to start the season?
Yeah, when it matters the most, yeah. Well, hey, we'll be popping tonight, man. Let me know if you want to jump on. I'll send you an invite just to be safe. We'll be doing the pop thing tonight, too, so we'll see you then.
Sounds good.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I usually join. I should be. Oh, no, tonight I got to go to I'm going to doing something with my wife tonight. Just remember, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, hey, there you go. Maybe I remind. That's good. Okay, well, that's fine. No worries. Well, have a great weekend, man. I hope you have a fun time tonight. And thanks for everything, as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. You be good.
All right, brother. You too. There you go. Dwight Vick, the great Dwight Vick. Great stuff. Thanks to everybody in chat. You were outstanding. Thanks to all of our great guests today. What a show. David Smith, Andy Bitter, Coach Steinspring, and Dwight Vick. Man, oh, man, oh, man. Great stuff. Finally, Friday edition tomorrow. We'll see you then. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you tonight on Pop 645. Be good. See you tomorrow.